short person next to me since we're sharing mics.
What's shaking, y'all?
You can do whatever you want. Sit wherever you want. Greetings. How you guys doing? Oh, we love it. We're very happy to be here. Everybody having a fun convention so far? All right, good. Lots of cheer lines. That's great. My name's Alex Keller. I am a senior sound designer, audio lead on DC Universe Online, which has been live on PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PC. We launched in 2011. We're going to be on Xbox One within, I think, safe to say within a year, and much more likely, much sooner than that. We're excited about that. A big part of my responsibilities is casting and directing the DC universe, which is part of my interview for the job, included action figure identification. And we have, at this point, I think, something like 240 characters from the comics in our game, all unique characters from the comics. And these guys are a cross-section of the great talent that I get to work with when I'm directing and casting DC. And it's just been a real treat working on this game. I'm still super stoked to be doing it. So let me introduce you to the people who are going to be doing the talking today. First here is S.J. Miller. S.J. is DC Universe Online's creative director and writer, and she sits in on voiceover sessions with me, and we work very closely on the project and scope and character. We've got... I was going to let these guys introduce themselves because I'm sure they've got a lot more to say than I was going to pull out. So, SJ, you want to jump in? Do you have anything else?
Sure, I was going to say, I'm the person you're not really here to see because I write the words that these people say, basically. But yeah, thank you.
A fan of writing.
And he mentioned the 250 characters. I feel really privileged because there's not a lot of writers, even in the comics industry, that have actually written over 100 of those iconic characters, from Superman to Granny Goodness to like all of them. Because we're lucky because we have essentially the entire DC universe in our game. You rarely see that in any one movie or media. So if you haven't tried it, it's free to play.
Hey everybody, my name is Mark Puhe. I'm an Austin-based actor. I'm fortunate enough to voice Trigon. He's Raven's father, and for all intents and purposes, he is the devil. But
Hi, I'm Lainey Frazier, and I play Granny Goodness. And so you will ask me questions, whether you want to or not.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Gray. I do some stuff for Rooster Teeth, and on this particular project, I voice Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern. And something else. Yeah,
we're not talking about that yet.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. My name is Adrienne Mishler, and I play Raven and Lois Lane. I also do Supergirl and Power Girl, Starfire, Cheetah. I'm pretty much every Teen Titan. No, just kidding.
About 200 of those 250 characters.
Cyborg.
Cheetah. And Ursa. I think that's it. Yeah, it's an awesome honor to be on this game. It's so cool. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Jen Brown. Thank you. Mostly known around these parts for Red versus Blue and Ruby, but with these awesome people, I just started. Can I say it?
Yes, you can. That's live.
Okay,
It
is
you can
live.
play it right now.
Okay. So I've been doing Harpies and other random Blue Lanterns for them for a while, but I'm finally now a named character, and I will be Lashina under the wonderful Granny Goodness. So that's really exciting.
Hey everybody, I'm Shannon McCormick. Hey, I'm John Erler. So yeah, like Jen, you know me from a bunch of things from Rooster Teeth, but for DC Universe Online, I continue my position of having to battle Gray in various forms. I am Arkillo from the Sinestro Corps, so I have to fight him. I'm the Riddler. I'm John Constantine, so I have fought. I get to fight Mark, and I'm actually the one that I like the most. Maybe is Shazam, and my 6-year-old just started watching Young Justice, and Shazam is his favorite character from the Justice League. So I'm like, oh, and I'm like, you know, your dad plays Shazam too. Sorry, thank you guys.
Mate, how do you get a clap like that? Yes, got some fans out here. I'm Nick Stevenson. I am. I wish I brought some money with me, yeah. I'm an actor now based out of Austin, by way of New York, by long way of Australia. And I play a very angry man called Steppenwolf. Yeah.
So I'm thinking today, every time we've done this, I've had a ton of people left at the end wanting to ask questions. So I'm thinking we're gonna open up for questions pretty soon. But let's cover some of the core stuff. I think that a lot of people would want to know how you guys got started doing this, and what other types of work do you do to keep things going? What other projects are you involved with, that sort of thing?
All right, I'll start. With DC Universe Online, I got started 2 years ago. Alex offered me an audition, and I really enjoyed the time working. It was my first time back acting after a break for a few years.
Sure, I had met you when I was at Midway.
Exactly.
The first time. So, but in terms of like voiceover.
Oh, in terms of
and
voiceover?
acting in general. How did you get into
I
it?
started acting in college. Professionally, I started acting about 10 years ago, mostly theater, some television. I'm currently working with Austin Shakespeare. I'm on the board of Austin Shakespeare and do a lot of work there. I'll next be seen as, well, this isn't a theater, but for Austin Shakespeare, I'll be seen as Macbeth in the spring. And thank you. Also for Austin Playhouse, I'll be in Satchel Paige and the Kansas City Swing. Is that correct? Yeah. I'll be playing Satchel Paige. That'll be in February. And at St. Edward's, I'll be a guest artist in a couple of shows. One, Mr. Burns, and post-electric play. It's literally about the Simpsons in the post-apocalyptic world. It's it's going to be wild. And To Kill a Mockingbird. But you know, I focus a lot more on theater than film. Not for lack of trying, but yeah, definitely a lot more on theater. Yeah.
Lainey.
Okay. I don't know. I hate this.
You don't have, you know what? We can skip it if you want.
No,
You can-
no,
you
no,
can
no,
make
that's
something
okay.
up.
No, I've been acting. The first thing I ever did was when I was 4, and so I've kind of made my life around acting and you know, have a degree in acting and that kind of thing, and have done, you know, thousands of voiceovers. For commercial work, industrial work, animation work. And so I'm on like Wizard 101 and Pirate 101. Thank you. That one person who plays, yay you, yay, I like you. You know, and I also do Metroid. See, there's somebody else and that's great. Yeah. And, you know, did like Star Lancer and Wing Commander way back. And,
Oh! Hardcore.
And I also teach voice acting, and I produce talent demos. And so I really enjoy, when I'm not behind a mic, helping others that I dear and love, all of my students, here's the one right there, you know, get into voiceover and realize their dreams. Yeah, that's enough.
Man, how did I get started in this? I was the quintessential theater geek, starting from even like late elementary school all the way up until high school. I did study acting at university for a while, which wound up making me so much money, ha ha ha, no, that went back and got the computer science degree and then eventually went up in production. But during that whole time, I was doing a ton of voiceover for back when ADV was still alive. Did a lot of anime. They're Seraphim Digital now. You guys should go find them. Doing a whole bunch of roles. I think a lot of people know me as Sano or Sanosuke from Rurouni Kenshin's, from ADV's incarnation of that. And done a bunch of video games over the years. I've got a track record of being able to be set on fire in a wide variety of video games. So you can hear me scream in one of the Deus Exes, in Metroid Prime. I think there's another one, but obviously the greatest video game opportunity I've ever had has got to be doing Green Lantern on this project. So yeah.
I use both. Let's see. I grew up here in Austin, born and raised, and thank you. Everyone always says, "Oh, that's such a rare thing," and it is, but that's so weird that it is, because it's a great city.
So start having babies here and never let them leave.
I don't know. You know what that means, Shannon?
I don't know either.
I love it. So I was also a quintessential theater nerd. Yes, and my parents were theater people, and my mom actually taught at the university at St. Edward's theater, so I kind of grew up in the green room and, in the line in the theater that actually Mark mentioned he's performing in this fall, that I think a lot of other people here have performed in. I used to just kind of lay like a zombie in the aisles of the seats, just like in the dark, like while my mom was working. So super nerd. Grew up doing theater. Also got super rich off that theater degree, and just kidding, I didn't even get the degree. And but I am rich. No. Anyway, started a couple years ago getting into film and commercial stuff. Did a great movie a couple years ago with now local director David Gordon Green, who's awesome. Opened a lot of doors up for me to do more film and commercial stuff. I do a little Wizard 101 and Pirate 101. I do a lot of voiceover now, but I have this game and Alex to thank for this opportunity. When anyone sees that these guys took a chance on me in the way that they did, they always give me a chance, and then I nail it and get it. No, just kidding. It's a lot of, it's just like anything, right? You have to really kind of invest in just the practice, and then sometimes you get a hook and sometimes not. Let's see. I also have a YouTube channel. Do you know it? Yes, awesome. It's thank you. You just made my whole year. I feel like crying. It's kind of what I do to marry acting and voiceover work, and it's just free yoga for anyone on the YouTubes. So it's pretty cool. Thanks.
I was also a theater nerd for the majority of my life. Thank you. Aim it right here. Did theater all throughout high school, middle school, high school. Went to college for theater, also rolling in the dough from my not completed theater degree. And then moved here to Austin, and I had my own theater company for 6 years, learned a lot, producing shows as well as being in them, and then started doing, kind of focused on the stage for the majority of my career. And then the past about 5 years, I've been starting to do more voiceover work and more film and whatnot. Started working with Rooster Teeth, which was amazing. And that's where I met Shannon, who now has basically given me my career. He's been a really great friend. And a lot of us will say, you make connections, and then those people will then remember you and how, hey, I work with this person, you should try them out, they're really great, or you should really work with, and this guy's really good at referring. He got me involved with Alex, so I started doing DC Universe about 2 years ago. Currently, I am in pre-production for my own film that I am producing. That I co-writing, producing, starring in, called Marvin. It won't be out for like 2 years, so don't look it up. You won't find anything because it's not out there yet. We are just in script phase, but really excited about going on that journey of making my own movie. And I also have a podcast that y'all should totally check out called Women in Caskets. That is a feminist horror podcast. So yeah, niche, anybody, right? Boys are welcome too. Y'all can come join our nerdy, feminist, gore-loving army, please. So yeah, womenincaskets.com on Twitter, blah, 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 blah.
I got an English degree, so I'm just slumming it. Those of you who's been to this panel before? This is, I think, our third year doing this.
Yes.
So I feel like I tell this story every year. Like I didn't grow up a theater kid, but I did grow up with a performative bent, and I think there are maybe a lot of people like that. Like I didn't see any kind of professionally produced play until I was in my late teens because I grew up in a very small town in Iowa. In fact, I grew up in the country. But I think I had a little bit of either a narcissistic streak or an exhibitionistic streak that I was sort of always interested in performance. But because it was a small town, like I just had to perform for my brother and my sister or family or people. So like I think my first voice acting that is documented as a family story after seeing Robin Hood when I was 2, that I would run around like Friar Tuck from the Walt Disney Robin Hood shouting, "Get out of my church." And then in kindergarten, I was told to stop breathing like Darth Vader. Because I decided one day I wanted to go breathe like Darth Vader. So I think like those are my and I think I think everybody else probably has a similar kind of thing. Like I was performing well before I was in any way doing it professionally. And then, but by the time I got to college, I really got into performance, even though I was an English major. All my good friends were theater people. I started doing plays, started getting cast in film stuff. Moved to Austin. I'm a friendly guy, so I network fairly easily. I mean, and not like in a networking way, but I'm just like, hey, it's nice to meet you. You're awesome. Let's hang out. And was absorbed into the theater community fairly easily. That's how I got involved with ADV, because all of those producers were, in addition to being awesome anime producers, were heavily involved in the Austin theater community. So I knew them, and they're like, hey, come on in. And that basically, the working on ADV, specifically Get Backers, led to Alex reaching out to Robert Fisher, who basically had the huge database of everybody who had worked on ADV's things, and Alex said, I loved all of these people. Can you have them come in? So I got to come in and audition. I got to, then Alex asked me, who do you have? We need a new Hal Jordan. I was like, hey, I know this guy who could like knock Hal Jordan out of the park, and then Gray shows up and does that. Yeah. Whatever, dude. And Jen. And so I think that's like, that happens a lot where we're just kind of all bouncing each other's names around. Oh, you should talk to so-and-so. And then they talk to so-and-so and they get a job, and then they get the opportunity later down the line to say, hey, you should talk to Shannon, you should talk to Jen, or whatever the case might be. So it's a casual yet tight-knit community.
I got into voice acting probably when I was 11, sort of by fault. My dad was a writer in advertising, film and TV, and he put me in a room, and, I really sucked very badly, but I got paid handsomely. I think it was $150 at the time, and when you're 11, that's a lot of money, A lot of candy and Coke and all that kind of stuff. And then, unfortunately, Coca-Cola.
Don't do drugs, kids.
I was 13, 11, a lot of Coca-Cola. And then pretty much, unfortunately, at school, it wasn't cool to do acting, so I didn't do it. I was playing sports, and I really regretted not doing it. And then after school, I did a year of film school. Then I took time off, and then I got into acting when I was 18 or 19. So I think I've been acting for 17 years now. Went to drama school in New York, graduated, done a whole bunch of theatre, a lot of independent films, a bit of TV, Person of Interest, Orange is the New Black. I get to play an Australian, which is a real stretch for me. Actually, these guys auditioned for the role. I paid Alex to give me the role, so I want a DC on my credits, so I paid him. Oh, I probably shouldn't have mentioned that, right?
We still haven't got all of it.
Oh, you haven't got the
no.
check, right? Okay.
It's you keep saying it's
You're
going
gonna
to
be waiting for a while.
I'm kidding. I don't do that.
And I moved to Austin I had a Texas girl, actually, yeah. So I came here to have Texas babies, all right. So I get all right, so I'll do it. Oh, yeah. So that was a lot of fun, making the baby. So yeah, we had a baby, got a boy here, moved here, love Texas, great people. I actually don't think it's that weird. I feel right at home here. And it's just a really, really cool town. So thanks for having me.
Right. One more. How did you get into this for SJ? Not acting, but creative directing, writing, and that sort of thing.
I don't know how many people are like video game fans or whatever, but I got when I was in school. I think there actually are game design programs and stuff now, but when I was in school, that did not exist. So I actually studied film. I was like, I'm from Austin. There's tons of movies. There are not tons of movies. But there are tons of game studios. So I actually got in the door that way through. It does happen. It's rare, but quality assurance testing actually at Kings Isle, which produces Wizard 101 and Pirate 101. So, and then I just worked my way up through the ranks, and they're like, "Hey, can you write words?" And I'm like, "Well, let me try." And it turns out I can spell, and I have a decent idea of stories, so they just put me to work on that, and then I ended up being the lead writer. So, if you want to work in games, it's a good town, and if you work hard and you're in QA, it can happen. You can move up.
And as an aside to that, I've been working with SJ for over 5 years now, and she works really, really hard. And she does good work, but she also works really, really hard, and that helps her stick out. Something to think about.
Woo! Oh, and Alex, he's okay.
I have my moments. So I think that what I'd like to do is open this up to questions. Will, how are we going to do this? You guys just want to take the mic here? Okay. Do you guys, should people line up? How do you want to do it? All right, well, let's start over here. All right.
He's ready to roll.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
So I've been doing a lot of Rooster Teeth community voiceover work with a lot of small community videos. And a lot of my friends are from abroad that have been looking at doing voiceover work the same way. But many of them are very, very self-conscious of their accents. I have a Swedish friend in particular who's really, really sensitive about it. What are your thoughts on trying to either diminish or maybe accentuate a foreign accent? Maybe, Nick, you can help with that.
Watch a lot of American TV. Then you can start to talk like Jack. Nice to see you. Wait till you get a load of me. It was a lot of work, Fortunately, growing up for me as a kid, my dad would tell stories, and they would involve always an Englishman, an Irishman, or an Australian. So he would do the accent. So I think I was lucky enough to pick up the voices. Plus, I know many of Irish people who like to have a drink, so that helps. English people, we always beat them in football, so that helps. Swedish people, I don't know too many Swedish people, but I listen to them. And Scottish, you just you pick it up, but especially when it comes to playing an American, I'll hopefully either score it phonetically or just do my research. If I have to memorize lines, it helps. I'm probably at a little bit of a disadvantage if it's just a cold audition, because sometimes I'll give you pages and you got to try and sound American, and sometimes, you know, I fall flat on my face, but I do the best I can. But yeah, just try to have the year, listen, watch. There's a real technique to it, but there was a lot of, well, I also dated my speech teacher, so that helped. Yeah, no, she's not here. That was a good story too, but after midnight, that one. So yeah, I hope that helps.
Mine's a one-part statement, one-part question. You guys are really awesome, and I really appreciate everything that you guys do. The question that I have is, would anyone be interested in a free gentleman hug?
I would.
Yes.
I want to know what a gentleman hug entails. I want to make sure this.
No, no, it's.
Aw.
Aww.
Sweet. That's really nice.
Very gentlemanly.
Where's
Very
the?
dapper.
Who's next? Aha.
Hello. I just have a question about voice acting in video games. So a lot of times in video games, you're not given much context to the lines that you're reading. So how do you, as voice actors, deal with that? And, what are some ways that you can sort of add more character when you don't know exactly what the context is?
That's an excellent question.
I think all of us are about to point to SJ and Alex.
Exactly.
They do an
So the
amazing job of
biggest,
setting this up.
yeah, the biggest difference between that kind of acting or something you might be doing voices for something that's more narrative based is you don't know the context. You're like, here's a line, but you don't know what's happened because there's nothing that leads into it. The player character has punched you, kicked you. You don't know, and so that the role of the director becomes much more of a it provides that context in a way that the story normally does in something that's linear. Alex will be there to say, at this point, no, you're mad because the player character has stolen something from you or whatever the case might be. It's often broken up by tone. So we'll do all the, hey, you're happy to see the player character. Now you're mad to see the player character. Now you're ready to fight him. Now you're really fighting him. Now you're dying. Now you're just making sounds, and that's usually the flow of it. So they're structured. There's a little structure there that way.
The writer too, like SJ too, and that conversation that the three of us can have sometimes, like especially like recently when we were doing Raven. Okay, we're gonna be doing Raven today. Cool. But we're going to be doing two different versions. What? Like one when she's this way and one when she's this way. And so, yeah, the three of us together are kind of like figuring out how those two things are different and,
Yeah, like a lot of games, like most games. In fact, there will be multiple narratives. In our game, you can play as a hero or a villain. We usually have two different similar stories for the hero side and the villain side. But a lot of games will have different paths as well. It's tricky.
Also, are you into voice acting? Are you into film acting as well? I know it's not what this panel's about, but you have a great look. I just wanted to let you know. Yeah.
Shout out to the Sword Art cosplay.
Really did. It's the first thing I thought when I saw it. I was like, wow, she should get in film.
Don't be nervous. Don't just go, man. You got this.
Shannon, this is an off-topic question from the panel, which is why I was kind of refusing this. Okay. I see that you're wearing your Kansas City Royals shirt, and I'm from St. Louis. Okay. And I want to ask, are you ready for a 1985 World Series rematch?
Bring it on, baby.
My Cardinals are going to kick your ass.
Although,
feels good, energy.
Yeah, somebody from San Francisco is salty. Hey, look, once the playoffs happen, anything can happen. So all I know is my team is definitely going to be in the playoffs, and we'll see what happens. Thank you. Yeah. See, we got some Kansas City fans. Sorry, it would turn into a sports conversation.
Leave it at home, Shannon.
All right. My original question has already kind of been answered, but with the whole directive, how do you get into certain archetypes with such as villains, heroes. But anyways, my question is to Shannon. Shannon. I just had my friend just tell me.
Hail Shannon!
You just told me it's Shannon. Anyways, what is the worst throne you've seen ever of all time?
Oh, come on, man. It's in season 6. Ask questions for other people, man.
Okay.
I'm not calling you out, but like, you know, yeah. It was in season 6.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't know what a lot means today, sorry.
Hello. Okay, my question is, just like, what's some funny experiences you've had in the booth, outside the booth, creative, just anywhere?
That's sweet. Well, I guess the most universal one that I know that everyone always talks about, the most entertaining, at least when I always laugh the most at myself, is when we have to do efforts. Because there's nothing more amusing than being in a booth by yourself, making noises like, and it you know what you're doing, and this is part of your job, but every once in a while, I can't help it. I just fall into giggle hysteria because it's just it's just too weird. It's so awkward.
Carrie and I, when we're recording other actors at Rooster Teeth, we have a little game, brace yourselves, that we like to call Pooper Sex. We don't tell the actors that this is what's going on. But it's like, okay, so we've got some aggressive sounds. Let's go for that. No, you're on the defense now. You're taking damage, whatever. It's like, yeah, and yeah. So that's definitely a phenomenon that occurs.
Someone's hashtagging.
Pooper sex.
I'm tweeting that.
That's all.
So
that's all
I have
I'm
a
gonna
question
think
for.
about
So are the poop and the sex is oh.
That's too on the nose.
Yeah, you would think there are some where your interpretation might get a little creative. But, yeah. Next question.
I'm working on getting into voice acting as well, and I know there's certain types you can do from a home studio, other types like cartoons sort of thing you'd have to go, or so I've been told. Is video game voice acting one that you could do from home, or would that be more of a studio-based option?
Most voice acting in general is gonna be in the studio. It kind of depends on the company and it depends on the job. Some jobs will let you record remotely, but most of the time they need you to come into the studio.
Yeah. As a rule, we tend to do more in-person sessions if we can at all, instead of remote sessions. It's a lot easier to just have that eye-to-eye contact with the actor, that understanding, and spending a little time talking to them. It's a good way to sort of get warmed up and get in the zone.
I mean, it's kind of like the context thing you're talking about earlier. Like, if I'm not there and Alex isn't there to say, you just got kicked in the groin or something like that, you're just going to look at this and see, ugh, in your own home studio and go, I have no idea what's happening here.
Yeah, we still do it.
Yeah, we've done that before.
There are a lot of industrial jobs, so very separate from, I think, voiceover acting and character work, but that you can do remote. Like, I do a lot of VO for commercial video or internet commercial video, where they'll just send you a couple lines and you do it 3 different ways, and then they send you check. And it's a nice way to just kind of keep yourself afloat so that you can do the in the studio jobs, or just until you get that awesome moment or that awesome opportunity.
Hi. I was wondering, are there any character voices that you have had trouble with or try to stay away from?
Man, I have to say that these guys know that I had a really weird, really rare vocal thing come up, which I'm not going to tell my whole story, but it made me appreciate and honor and truly respect 2 things: vocal health, but also sustainability in the business. For me, I have a pretty mid-range voice. Raven is super, I can't even do it right now. She's super low, and so I really couldn't hit those marks. Right, it took a while, and now I'm like back in action. But it made me even like when I'm partying, not that I party, or like karaoke, it makes me consider the muscle in a whole different way after losing it now. Like, not to be like, I'm a proponent for vocal health now, but it was so crazy. Like, I never even thought about that before. So I think that, I don't know if this is a good answer to your question, but just my initial response is like, I totally honor and respect the muscle and all the like anatomical things that go into vocal range and quality now. Like, it's crazy. So vocal health is number one. So if you drink or smoke, just consider that kind of stuff.
There's a the one thing that I feel like mentally struggle with is sometimes like a lot of us play recurring characters, but you may not touch them for 18 months, and then you're like, how the hell did I do that guy's voice? Yeah. Gee, what does that guy sound like? And fortunately, you have reference stuff. They'll play you. This is what you sounded like before. That happened with me with Constantine. I couldn't remember exactly what we were doing when it was like, oh, this character is back on the table. You got the part, but I had recorded that audition like 18 months prior, and I was like, what did I do? So that can be a challenge sometimes. Some characters, you play them enough or frequently enough, it's like you can dial it up pretty quickly. But some of those characters is like, man, I don't know.
There's a gentleman down there. He's itching to ask a question shortly, so if somebody could give him the mic after this gentleman over here.
Is it on? Okay, yeah, I can hear myself. But here, let me try and move this a little far away from my
Lesson
face.
one, how to work the mic.
So me and my friend Jacob over here, we're trying to work on a game. I am currently trying to do the story, and it's really, like, I've got serious writer's block. Do any of you know how to get past the writer's block?
Cat videos. Seriously, actually, I mean, I think there was a panel that I wanted to get to, but I didn't make it, about how like gaming can kind of free that up and make you feel creative. So you just find the hobby that you like. Some people listen to music, some people don't listen to music because then they end up like writing the lyrics into their dialogue on accident. But you just, whatever you feel good when you, it might be bike riding. That's what I play a lot of video games, clearly, but. So I'll just go play one of my favorite games that I think has a really great story, and it kind of excites me and gets me wanting to get back, writing. So that's my suggestion.
All right. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry, I have never, ever heard of DC Online until today.
It's free to play.
It's free to
I
play.
am very, very sorry. I feel
Possibly
very
coming to
guilty.
+1.
Oh, thank y'all for sharing your personal experiences about how y'all got into voice acting. I've been interested in voice acting basically since I started playing games and watching cartoons, anime. Would y'all have any advice about how to first break the ice, kind of get yourself out there?
Classes. I mean, really, it's like any profession. If you are going to go into it seriously, you need to be trained, and you need to get great. And the only way to do that is to take a class and see if you have any talent, and see if you like it, and see if you're willing to put in the effort that it's going to take to make a career out of it. So, that's what I would recommend to anyone is get yourself in a class, and you get kind of taken through the ropes, and to see what your range is and see if this is something you want to do. Yeah.
And then beyond that, I mean, USB mics are cheap these days for at least a decent quality one. Go get one. Go get a set of headphones or cans, whatever you want to call them, and just start practicing. Like, seriously, I mean, whether or not it's more commercial, industrial type stuff, so you're just going to work on all of your different, more marketable announcer-y voices and stuff, or if you're going to be going down a character path, or both. I mean, just start practicing over and over and listen to yourself and get used to, because you're going to sound strange to yourself the first many times that you play with this. So, I mean, just get past that and start to map. When you're doing things mechanically to your voice, how's that actually translating to the actual effect that what are you doing to your sound? So the faster you come up to speed on that, then the better you're going to be. So,
and the other thing I would add to that has nothing to do with harnessing the power of your voice, but it's harnessing the power of you as an individual who's out in the world trying to make art. And I would say, if, for those of you who've seen the improv panel, I talk about this all the time, and we've touched on this a little bit. Find your people. Find a community of interesting, cool people who are doing the kind of work that you want to do, that want to do things with you, and you'll be in a situation where they're going to do something and ask you to do it, or you're going to be referred by them because they know somebody cool who's doing stuff. I mean, that's as much how I've gotten to anything that I've gotten as a voice actor as anything else. And so I think if you can find a way to find your people, that goes a long way to kind of creating the kind of life for you want for yourself, not just a career, if that makes any sense.
Hi, my name's Haley Ressler. This is my very first convention, best convention so far. I've had so much fun. But, I was just wondering because I thought about becoming a voice actor because I love anime and I love video games and stuff. Wizard 101, definitely. How does one, like, find auditions? Because I know they may post stuff online, but where would someone actually go to look to find auditions, to go find something? Like, how would they know if an audition's available for something? If, like, how would they find that?
Through your agent, or there are certain websites that gather all the auditions. So, like, it depends on the city, and it depends on where you live. So there are often Yahoo groups in certain cities that have like actor groups where they'll be like, these are all the auditions, and they'll gather them all, and you look at the list. It's different in every place.
And are there age restrictions?
We did work with somebody who was, I think, 15, and father had to be present, or parent had to be present, and it couldn't be during school hours or anything like that. There's, how old are you?
I'm 16. I'm turning 17 in December.
Yeah, I think 16 is actually the cutoff. I don't think there is anything really for 16.
Okay. So, all right, yay.
Calls for DC or we've done almost everything just through a network of people that I've worked with previously, and I was so happy when Mark came back on the market because I wanted him bad.
I don't know why.
We tend to just work through people that I know and people that I've met and that sort of thing, and rely on a lot of references and agents. Getting an agent, starting to take classes to get your skill up, and then getting an agent is probably the
And would you find those agents on agency websites?
the agents.
Yeah.
There are a number of local agents.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
Hey there. Okay, my question for the voice actors. From the first character you voice play to the character now, which one you feel most connected with?
I'll take this one. Can you hear me? Okay. I like Trigon. I really like it a lot. He's a great character. My kids, they watch the. I sound like such an old guy now. What are the Teen Titans? They watch Teen Titans. Yeah. His appearances on that show are very, very funny and cute. But I mean, what you guys are doing at DC Universal is, it makes me shake in the booth. And when you talk about getting into character, I find myself really embodying it physically. So you'll see me in the booth, but you'll see me jumping up and down and screaming and bringing the thunder. I mean, I've also played Dogbert in the past for Dilbert, and that was really fun and cool. But yeah, very similar to Trigon, still bent on world domination, and so that's just my. I wouldn't say I have a favorite, but I find things about each character on stage or in the booth that I really connect to. But that's just me. So you guys go ahead.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that, especially with the getting into it in the booth, and just embodying it and allowing the character to breathe through you. I obviously, because she's done a lot for me, and it's been awesome getting to play Carolina for 4 years. It's been amazing. I really love the way that character's written, and we're different. I'm definitely a fucking weirdo. But But like the serious parts of her definitely read into me. Most recently, I got to fulfill one of my personal voiceover dreams, and I got to do Harley Quinn. Not for anything huge, but for a small thing. I can't say yet because I'm under an NDA, but it's just going to be a small thing. But for me, that's like my ultimate. I've wanted to play her forever. So that, for me, that was like, yeah.
I might help one of the questions in regards to voice acting. A lot of it, when you got to use your voice as truthfully as possible. When I have to do dialects, I still have to be true to the dialect. Often, as an actor, I prefer to hide behind a character. I think the great thing about being able to do stuff like this is that you really do get to consume a character and completely change your voice. But if you're doing commercial work or something, you know, for a newspaper or a car, you know, there might be a soft sell or a hard sell. So there's all that kind of stuff involved. But I think it really just comes down to the actor. Generally, use your own voice, always be true to yourself, stay truthful, and give it a good true read. But the fun stuff and why a lot of people are actors, one of the reasons I'm an actor is that I get to hide behind characters because I actually feel more comfortable doing that than sitting in a room with 200 people talking about voice stuff.
This guy got his.
Yeah. Finally! I've had my arms up for half an hour now. Yeah, it was sort of answered earlier, but I'm from a smaller town in Wisconsin, and I've wanted to do voice acting for a while. Red vs. Blue inspired me a bit, along with anime. So the only problem is that, like I said, I live in a small town, and I am interested in at least trying to pursue it in a way. Would it be recommended to go to a bigger city to try auditions, or would I be able to do something through the internet or anything like that?
Move. And I like, look, I'm from, so you're small town Wisconsin, I'm from small town Iowa. You know, move. You know, go to where the action is, and that may not mean, that may mean go to Madison, go to Milwaukee, go to Chicago. You don't have to move to L.A. You don't have to move to New York. But again, I think you're more likely to find the kinds of people doing the kinds of things that you might be interested in there. There are outlets for doing voice acting work online. There's like voices.com and vox.com. But most of that is going to be low money commercial bids for like doing like, you know, little radio spots here or there or whatever. It's not going to get you into like doing work on characters. So move or make your own thing. That would be my advice. You got it.
Hi. I have a question. I took voice lessons, and one of the things that I was told by the teacher that I had back then was every now and then a casting call will go out and it'll be like for a witch, and she said don't slip into stereotypes, don't do the type of voice. Has there been a time that you guys have run into that and you've had struggles, and what have you maybe done to move past those struggles for?
I was told specifically by Alex Culler when I auditioned for John Constantine not to try to sound like Keanu Reeves. This is an honest-to-God email that I got. I think that directive may have come down from on high from D.C. Oh, only from Alex Keller. Properly British. I don't know about that.
And thank you for that.
Or at least British.
I want to do it as Keanu.
Well, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but because when it comes to voiceover, I have like a dirty secret, which is like I didn't take any classes, or I just lucked out and had people take a chance on me, and I had been in the theatrical world and had at least just a tiny iota of confidence to just like go in there and take my shoes off literally and try. But I would say this is my thought on this. This was my thought on this then and still is now. I think that the best actors are the ones who go in and are willing to have fun. You know, like that's just, and that's not a line. That's like the truth. And because you can feel that, you can sense it. It really circles back to what we were saying down at the end here about kind of like being true to yourself in the moment. And so if it's not fun and you're freaking out, then it's going to show. So if you're having fun, then you're more likely to show, I'm going to show you 5 different ways to how to do this witch. And one of them's going to be the stereotypical witch, because I'm going to show you that I'm still on planet Earth. But then I'm also going to show you, you know, how creative I am or how risky I am, or, you know, and then the director or the writer gets to say, no, yes, no, okay, that was probably the one, but let's just try it. You got one more in you, you know, and you're like, yeah, I think so, and then you're like, no, that one was the same as the last one. Okay, we're done, you know.
Yeah, I was going to offer something from the other side, a perspective from the director or the writer. What the hell kind of direction is that? Do a witch, but not a stereotype. That would be my first question: is what are you looking for?
Here's one thing that occurred to me. We wrote something for Lex Luthor in which there were a bunch of alternate universe Lex Luthors. James Marsters are Lex. And we wanted him to do sort of a military Lex Luthor. But his Lex sort of sounds very East Coast prep school. So we had him read the lines in a military, you know, that sort of southern military cadence, and to build the pace, and then go back and do it as Lex Luthor. So it still didn't hit the really stereotypical character, but it kept the pace, kept the cadence, and kept the pitch inflection while being in a different voice. There are ways you can take something like stereotypical like a witch and pull out an element or two, play with that, and see if you can find the thing that makes it a witch without the
Yeah, like Adrian.
And it really helps, like with the video games, that you can see the character, and you get a lot of clues off of that. You know, I always believe that everything you need to know is in the script. You know, and
Great.
But you can pick up.
No pressure. No need to know anything.
So if I didn't do it right, it's your fault,
Yeah.
SJ.
I hear that a lot.
But yeah, and you kind of, it's like when a Granny Goodness, you know, there was, even though she's an old battle axe, she's still got big boobies, and she's
Where are we going?
and she's sexy.
Depends on
Where have you been?
I had to go to the bathroom so bad that Jen and I worked out a buddy system, so she's going to the bathroom so bad right now.
I see.
And then the yay was because I gave someone a thumbs up. That's what was that was what was happening in the hall. Oh, your character, her boobies, and then everyone went yay from the hall. Awesome.
Really kismet. That was awesome. Stuff going on here.
So this is basically a question for everyone. What is your do you have any great horror stories from the worst working conditions you've ever had, that you can legally say, of course? And also, Shannon, I've got something for you. Gray can contest to this. I've got a wash figure for you.
Oh, awesome! Thank you. You want to bring it up?
Sure.
I'll answer your question first. The worst working conditions that I ever had, and so Alex is the exact opposite of this director. Alex gives you room to do your thing, and I worked on a project where basically I felt like the director. This was for a commercial educational software thing, so it wasn't even character based. Thank you so much. Basically I felt like that director wanted to be the one who was doing the voice for the project, right? Every single line I was given a line reading, say it like this. And it's at that point, it's why? Okay, you know exactly what you want, and you're giving it to me. You cast me. Do you want me to be on this project? If you want it to sound exactly like how you're doing it, you should probably just record it yourself. And it was very disrespectful. It didn't feel
That's
collaborative.
when you say, you want me to do it that bad?
Yeah, right? Yeah. Oh, man, I should have. And anyway, that's awesome. That guy got fired. That guy got fired. Like 10 years later. So. It was,
Took a while.
That's my worst experience.
Hi. First of all, very pleasantly surprised to find out that some of my favorite Red versus Blue actors are in DC Universe. I've been playing it since it started, and that's just really awesome to find out. You guys talk a lot about the video games versus voiceovers versus movies and stuff like that. Is there a preference that you have to mainstream things like Halo and those kind of big games versus like smaller indie projects? Like, is there a preference between major studio versus indie? If money was not an object, which would you prefer? Let me rephrase.
Yeah, well, I'd go for whatever was the most fun, like whatever character or whatever like spoke to me the most, like. Period.
Yeah.
Like if I had my choice.
Yeah, I mean, the indie projects are probably going to be more willing to take more risks, or they're probably trying to make a name for themselves by trying something that hasn't been done before. So those are always cool to play around with.
Thank you.
Hey guys, sorry, but this is going to be the last question.
Hi there. I currently work at my university's radio station, so I just want to say that this panel has been really inspiring. I have two super quick questions. First, what is very inspiring to you in terms of like movies and television, and have you worked on any audiobooks?
I haven't worked on audiobooks per se, but I've done a lot of National Geographic work. I think I forgot about this. It's like 9 or 10 years ago. Did a lot of National Geographic poetry readings, things like that. So that was fun. What was the first part of your question again? Oh, television and movies. I would say probably ask somebody who has a lot more experience doing television and movies. Yeah.
You mean as like a viewer or as being in them, or what are you talking?
Oh, well, I can answer viewer.
I was like, what are you doing over there, Mark? You don't watch TV?
Everything I ever do is based on some way on Denzel Washington's work. So some angle, I'll find another.
I don't do any audiobooks yet, but I'd like to. But I just started doing a guided meditation series for my channel, which is free yoga on YouTube called Yoga Daydream. It's really cool, especially if you are a gamer or you work a lot at a computer. Great free yoga. Just plugging that. It's free, so I'm not really selling anything. But we've started doing some audio things, and it's been really fun to kind of decide, like, oh, what's my character sound like in this? And how can I not take on this, like, relaxing character voice, but just really be, like, my true, authentic self and, you know, like, lead people. So that's been fun, and it's an experiment. It was just in the beginning stages, so that's cool. Pimp! That is so cool. I love it when the worlds collide, and that's what it's all about. That's so cool.
I think as somebody who is a consumer of like film and TV, like this is like the greatest time to be around, right? There's something for absolutely every interest that's out there. Whatever your thing is, you can find it. And I also really like as this convention is a testimony to the blurring between the lines of somebody who consumes content and also people who create content is there's a wonderful feedback loop. There's a sense of I'm a creator, but it's a community of people, and so that's super exciting to me that we're around right now. That you know shows can have the kind of audience community that they do, and whatever your taste might be, there's probably a show for you. It's a really exhilarating time to be around. That's inspiring to me.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. TV is like really good right now to the point where it pisses me off because I end up spending like way too much time on my couch. Just like
It's
one
like
more
an
episode of Rick
obligation.
and Morty.
I gotta get caught up on
one more
this.
episode.
Whoop it
up. Can't stop. Can't stop. Yeah, inspiration. Doctor, I'm a huge Whovian, so Doctor Who, that's my thing. I don't have my TARDIS on today. I'm wearing it tomorrow. But yeah, so huge Doctor Who fan. And like, the audiobook thing is a thing that I personally have always wanted to do. Because when I was a kid, I was a huge reader. Like, reading was my favorite thing. And do y'all remember those speech and debate tournaments, like in like middle school and high school?
and I would always do the prose. Like, I always just liked reading the stories in front of everybody. Prose interpretation.
You guys,
Pretty good.
I'm sorry, we're out of time.
Oh, okay. Well, but
We're out
yeah,
of time. Thanks everybody for coming. Ted, our community relations guy, is going to hand out T-shirts up front. There aren't many, but he's been appointed to do it.
Apparently.
Right up there. Oh, are they for us? Or are they for the audience? Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yes.